Hey everyone, what's up? It's Rob Dodson. In today's episode of Polycasts, I'm going to show you how to dynamically swap around all the content in your application using the core pages element. So let's check it out. The hallmark of any single page application is that it doesn't refresh the page as the user is navigating to different sections. So using the Polymer site as an example, you can see that as I'm clicking around the menu items, all the content on the page is just sort of instantaneously changing. It makes the whole app have this really nice, snappy feel to it. And there's a few ways that you can achieve this effect. The most basic, and the one that I'll cover today, involves showing and hiding different bits of content that are already available on the page. Basically just telling some to display block and others to display none. And there are other strategies which include using Ajax to go talk to your server, grab some content, and then inject that back into the document. Or piping data to templates that you already have that are on the page and then sort of inflating them. All right, I'm going to cover these other two techniques in future episodes, but let's start off with a really simple example today, just switching some sections on and off. So here I am in Sublime, and I've already gone ahead and set up a really simple project. In my Bower JSON, I've included the core elements and installed everything to my Bower Components directory. So to get rolling, the first thing I'm going to do is open my elements HTML file and add the core pages element so it gets imported. Then in my index HTML file, I'll write out a core pages tag. And I'm going to give it a selected attribute of 0. I'm also going to go in and set some kind of boilerplate content up. Now, the selected attribute up here is really important. And the way it works is it basically tells core pages which of its children to display. It's kind of like an index on an array. So this child right here is going to be child 0, this child is child 1, and this section is going to be child 2. Since I've set selected equal to 1, that's going to actually try to render this portfolio section down here. If you hop up into Chrome and refresh the page, you should see that portfolio content showing up right there. But you're not limited to using a numeric index. If you give your core pages element a value attribute instead, you can select any child that matches that value attribute. I'm going to set value attribute to data category. This is an attribute that I've just totally made up. And then I'm going to give each of these sections a matching data category attribute. Now if I set my selected value to contact, what that does is it tells core pages to find the child with a matching data category of contact. Looking through our sections, we can see that this one right down here matches. And so when we hop over to Chrome, refresh the page, we should see our contact section is now displaying. All right, so if you recall in the last episode, I wrapped all of my elements in an auto-binding template element. Now we can do the same thing here to connect our core pages element to a menu. Let's check it out. All right, I've added a little bit more markup to our page. So now we have a core drawer panel that's holding all of our pages. We also have header panels and toolbars, a bunch of elements that we've shown in previous episodes. If you missed those episodes, we've got links to them down in the show notes. First thing I'm going to do is wrap everything inside of an auto-binding template. So I'm going to use that is equals auto-binding attribute. Grab all my content, paste it inside there, and also give my template an ID of app, so that way I can refer to it later using JavaScript. Next, I'm going to pop open my elements HTML file and drop in a core menu and core items imports. Then back in my index file, I'll write out a core menu and populate it with items that match all of our page categories. Now comes the magic moment. Because core menu and core pages extend the same common parent called core selector, it means they can both take advantage of value attribute. If I give each of my core items a data category that matches the core pages data categories, then I can set my selected value equal to a scope variable, which I'm just going to make up and call page. Then I can go down to my core pages section and give it a scope variable for its selected value, also called page. And now, in effect, I've linked these two elements, my menu to my pages. If I hop up into Chrome and refresh the page, you'll see that as I'm clicking my menu items, it's also updating the page content. To set a default page, I'm going to select the auto-binding template in my app.js file and give it an initial value for its page variable. I'll just go ahead and set page equal to home. Now when I start up my application, it's displaying the home page by default. All right, now that you can change between the different states in your application using core pages, you can start to think about adding additional things like routing. That's exactly what we're going to cover in the next episode, so be sure to subscribe. Definitely leave comments down below to let us know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.